Have you ever felt like the older you get, the more peace you crave, and the less you need to explain yourself to anyone? If you're over 70, or even approaching that age, you may have noticed something deeply personal, yet universally true. Friendships, especially the ones that used to matter so much, start to lose their grip on your happiness. That's not a bad thing. In fact, it could be the beginning of the most freeing chapter of your life. In this video, we're going to explore 6 powerful reasons why you don't need to maintain friendships after 70, and how choosing yourself, your peace, and your purpose can lead to a richer, calmer, and more meaningful way of living. So if you've ever felt guilty about withdrawing from old friends, if you've ever questioned why certain relationships feel more like a burden than a blessing, or if you've simply started enjoying your own company more than a crowded room, you're not alone. This is for you. Reason 1. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. When you were younger, friendships often came with a silent demand. Prove yourself. Prove you're fun enough. Prove you're smart enough. Prove you're loyal, interesting, agreeable-worthy. In school, in the workplace, in social circles, we spent decades shaping ourselves to fit in, to be accepted, to belong. But here's the truth no one tells you. After 70, you've already proven everything that needed proving. You've lived, you've loved, you've made mistakes, learned from them, and carried wisdom many never will. So why keep performing for people who only see a part of you? Or worse, who barely see you at all? This stage of life isn't about proving your value. It's about knowing it. You don't need a packed contact list to feel seen. You don't need to attend every birthday, return every call, or go out of your way just to feel included. Your worth isn't tied to how many people surround you. It's rooted in how deeply you understand yourself. And that realization, it's not loneliness, it's liberation. Reason 2. Peace becomes more valuable than socializing. Remember when socializing used to be fun? The loud laughter, the busy weekends, the full calendars, they felt like signs of a full life. But now, that same noise often feels like too much. You begin to crave silence, not just quiet peace. The kind of peace where you wake up and don't have to answer to anyone, where you sit in your chair, sip your tea, and no one expects anything from you. Many friendships, even good ones, come with effort. The calls, the check-ins, the need to listen, to support, to show up. And while that's beautiful in youth, it can become draining in later life. There's no shame in stepping back. Take Margaret, for example. She's 75 and used to be the life of the party. Always hosting, always planning, always answering the phone. But one day, she looked around and realized she was exhausted. The conversations felt repetitive. The people around her didn't really see her anymore. So she did something radical. She started saying no. She stayed home. She walked in the park alone. She read in silence. And slowly, she felt joy return. Not from others, from herself. You don't have to choose between people and peace. But when friendships become noise, it's okay to turn the volume down. Your peace is sacred. And after 70, it becomes your greatest treasure. Reason 3. Fewer friendships, fewer disappointments. One of life's hardest truths is this. Not all friendships are built to last. And even fewer are built to serve you in your later years. Over time, you start to realize something both painful and freeing. The fewer friendships you maintain, the fewer disappointments you face. Because the truth is, expectations hurt. You expect a friend to check in, but they don't. You show up for others time and time again, but they're never there when you need them most. You give your energy, your loyalty, your time, and in return, silence. Absence, distance. By the time you reach your 70s, you've likely experienced this more times than you'd like to admit. And at some point, you stop blaming yourself and start seeing things clearly. That's what happened to William. At 78, he looked back on his social life and saw a pattern. He had always been the one reaching out, the one organizing get-togethers, the one remembering birthdays, checking in during tough times, holding people up. But who was holding him? When he needed support, many of those same friends were nowhere to be found. At first, it stung. He felt abandoned, even ashamed. But then came the shift. He realized he wasn't the problem. He was simply tired of being the only one who cared. So he stopped. And you know what? The phone barely rang. And that silence, it didn't hurt. It healed. Fewer friendships doesn't mean fewer people to love. It means making space for the ones that truly matter. The ones that don't demand more than they give. The ones that feel like rest, not responsibility. Letting go of one-sided friendships is not selfish. It's self-respect. Reason 4. Your time becomes more precious than ever. There's a moment in your 70s, maybe quiet, maybe sudden, when you realize something powerful. Time is no longer something you can afford to waste. When you were younger, you had decades stretching ahead of you. Time to spare, time to give, time to spend on things and people that didn't always give back. But now, every hour is gold. Every afternoon nap, every slow walk, every moment spent doing exactly what you want matters more than ever. And when you understand the value of your time, something shifts. You stop saying yes out of habit. You stop showing up just to be polite. You stop wasting minutes on conversations that drain you, not nourish you. Take Richard, for example, a lively, thoughtful man in his early 80s. He once had a full calendar. Dinners, game nights, long phone chats. But eventually, he noticed something. These gatherings no longer brought him joy. They exhausted him. Too much small talk. Too much gossip. Too little meaning. So one day, he simply opted out. He replaced those social appointments with walks in the garden, with reading poetry in the sunlight, with learning a new skill, just for fun. He found that time spent alone wasn't lonely. It was luxurious. You get to decide how you spend your remaining years. And you don't owe your hours to anyone. When you honor your time, you reclaim your life. Reason 5. Real companionship begins within. Let's challenge a myth for a moment. One we've been told our entire lives. That being alone is the same as being lonely. That's simply not true. In fact, the most powerful companionship you can ever have is the one you build with yourself. You've spent your whole life showing up for others. Being a parent, a partner, a friend, a neighbor, a caregiver. But how often have you shown up for you? How often have you listened to your own thoughts, your own needs, your own voice, without interruption? That's what Eleanor discovered at 76. She used to believe she needed people around her to feel fulfilled. Always planning lunches, always calling, always performing. But deep down, she often felt drained. She wasn't being herself. She was being the version of herself people expected. Then one day, she stopped. She took a solo trip to the lake. She brought her favorite book. She spent hours sitting quietly, writing in her journal, listening to the wind in the trees. And in that silence, she found something beautiful. Her own company was enough. When you enjoy who you are, you stop needing others to fill your time. You become your own best friend, your own wise elder, your own safe place. And here's the surprising part. When you no longer need friendships to feel whole, the right ones begin to appear. The kind that are gentle, mutual, effortless. Relationships that flow, not force. But it all starts with choosing you. Reason 6. Letting go creates space for a fulfilling life. Let's be honest. A lot of friendships after 70 survive out of habit, not happiness. We keep in touch because we always have. We say yes to coffee because we feel guilty saying no. We answer the phone even when we'd rather rest. But what if you gave yourself permission to stop? What if you let go? Not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. That's what James did in his late 70s. He had a long list of friends and endless invites. He stayed busy. Everyone thought he was thriving, but inside, he felt empty. One afternoon, after another dull lunch filled with recycled stories and subtle judgments, he asked himself a bold question. What if I simply walked away? And so he did. He stopped going where he wasn't excited to go. He stopped answering calls that drained him. He stopped keeping up with friendships that no longer felt alive. And in their place, he found something better. Stillness, energy, joy. He picked up painting again. He biked through country roads. He fell in love with the sky at sunset. Letting go didn't isolate him. It set him free. And that's the truth many discover too late. Your life doesn't shrink when you release friendships that no longer serve you. It expands. You breathe deeper. You smile more often. You start living for you, not for social obligations. Letting go isn't loss. It's space. Space for healing. Space for hobbies. Space for love in forms you never expected. So let's return to the idea we started with. You don't need a crowd to be complete. You don't need to chase friendships to feel valued. You don't need to explain why peace matters more to you now than ever before. After 70, your life is yours fully finally. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the need to keep up. And in its place, choose simplicity. Choose stillness. Choose yourself. Because the most beautiful chapter in your life may begin the moment you stop chasing people and start cherishing your own presence. Thank you for watching. If this message touched your heart, leave a comment and share what resonated most with you. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep creating stories that inspire you to live the life you choose. Until next time, stay peaceful, stay present, stay true to yourself.